Hello everyone, welcome back. So in this session we will see what are the methods of importing module in Python. Okay, so for this we will consider two scenarios. One is when module and main file are in the same directory. Okay, and when module and file are in the different directory. Okay, so we will consider two scenarios. First one is when module and main file are in the same directory, and the second scenario will be when module and file are in the different directory. So now let's see what are the different methods of importing a module along with its attributes and functions when module file and the main file are in the same directory. Okay, so let's say this is a directory. Okay, inside this directory we have two files. Okay, first one is the learning python.py file is there, and second one is the maths.py file is there. Okay, and both the file are in the same directory. Okay, so this file learning python.py will be our main file, and this file maths.py will be our module, and we will see what are the ways through which we can call this module inside the main file learning python.py. Okay, so the first method is import and then the name of the module, that is maths. And if you remember our last session, in our last session we created this module maths.py and we defined two functions, add and subtract, and this learning python.py is the main file where we will call these functions add and subtract. Okay, also if you can see this directory structure on the left side, so we have learning python.py and maths.py, both the file are in the same directory, which is Python session. Okay, so the first method to import any module is using import keyword and then the name of the module. Okay, and to call the functions of the module you have to write module name, that is maths dot the name of the function. Okay, and we'll pass some value here, x and y. Similarly, to call another function inside the maths module, we can write maths.sub x comma y. Okay, now let's see in PyCharm how we can do that. So first of all, we'll write our import statement, import maths, and then we will say maths dot add 5 comma 4. Second function can be called as maths.sub 5 comma 4. Now let's run this code. So you can see here the functions add and subtract, which are defined in the module maths.py, is successfully called in the main file learning python.py. So this is the first way of importing the module in your Python program. Okay, now the second way is to define the alias. So we can write our import statement like this: import, then the name of the module, which is maths, as m. And now at the time of calling the functions, instead of writing maths.add or maths.subtract, we will write m.add. x comma y will pass some value here. Similarly, to call subtract function, we'll say m dot subtract x comma y. And through this way also you can call the functions of the module maths. Now let's see here. So import maths as m, and then instead of maths I'll say m dot add and m dot subtract. What is m? M is the alias of the module name maths. Okay. So now you can see here it also works correctly. Okay. So this is the second method of importing a module in Python program. Now the third method is from maths, that is the module name, import add comma subtract. So there is an advantage behind using this method. The advantage is at the time of calling the method you don't have to specify anything in prefix. So earlier in our previous two methods we saw either we are using the name of the module dot the name of the function to call a function of module, or the name or the alias dot the function name to call a function of the module. But here using this from method you don't need to specify anything before the function. You can just call the function, whatever the functions you have defined here. Okay. The restriction, there is a restriction also. So you can earlier by using this method or by using the previous method we can call any function inside the maths module. But here is a restriction. The restriction is you can call only those methods which you have specified here at the time of importing it. I'll show you in PyCharm. So if I write import from maths import add comma subtract. Now at the time of calling the function I just have to use the function name. Don't need to use the module name or alias name. So now when you run it, it works correctly. Okay. Now let's say from the import statement if I remove this sub function and then again try to run it. So you can see here for addition it successfully executed. Why? Because I have specified addition add function in the import statement. But since I have removed this subtract function from the import statement, so at the time of executing this code this function gave an error. As you can see here, name sub is not defined. Did you mean sum or something like that? Okay. So that means using this methodology you can just restrict whatever the functions you want to be called in the main program. Okay. And the last way is from maths import asterisk. Okay. And here also you don't need to specify the alias name or the module name, you just have to call the function name. So in this method I am saying that let's say in maths module I have hundreds of functions defined. Okay. So this method, the previous method, has a drawback. If there are hundreds of functions defined in a maths module then you have to specify all the function names here. But the advantage is if you out of those 100 functions if you want your main program should use only 2 functions, so you can restrict it here. But if you want to use all those 100 functions inside your main program, then this asterisk will do the job for you. Okay. So if I specify asterisk here instead of add comma subtract. So you can see here, this is also giving you the correct result. Okay. So these are the 4 ways through which you can import the module in your main program. Okay. Or in any other file, but it has to be Python file. Okay. So this is our first scenario. Now let's consider the second scenario. So let's say this is a Python session directory, Inside Python session directory, we have one folder called mathematics. Okay, yeah, which is fine. So mathematics, and this folder has file called maths.py. Okay, and this particular folder also has file called learning python.py. Okay, so now this Python session is the main directory. Inside this directory we have file learning python.py. Also in this main directory we have subdirectory called mathematics, and inside this subdirectory we have maths.py. Now we will see how we can call this module inside our main file, that is learning python.py. Okay, so the methods will be same, which I have shown you in the scenario when both the files were in the same directory, but there will be the only change will be the name of the module. Okay, so the first method will be import. In this method, at the time of importing the module, what we will have to do, we'll have to specify the name of the directory, the name of the subdirectory, that is mathematics.maths. Okay, so now let's create a subdirectory here in PyCharm, and then we will proceed further. So inside Python session, I'll create a new directory, and I'll name this directory as mathematics. Okay, and what I'll do, I'll just move this file maths.py to this directory. Inside this directory, mathematics. Okay. Okay. Now if you look at this directory structure, so our learning python.py is inside this directory Python session, and inside this directory Python session we have a subdirectory mathematics. Inside this subdirectory we have a file maths.py. Now let's see how we can import this file in our main file learning python.py. So the first method to import a module is import mathematics.maths. That is the name of the subdirectory dot the name of the module. Okay, so now if I want to call the function inside the maths module, so how I can call it? I'll have to specify mathematics dot maths dot add. Similarly, to call subtract function, so I'll say mathematics dot maths dot sub x comma y. Okay, now let's see here. So as we know that we have moved this maths.py file inside the subdirectory mathematics, so we'll specify the name of the subdirectory first, then the name of the module. And at the time of calling the function from the maths module, what we'll have to do, we'll have to specify first the name of the subdirectory dot the name of the module dot the name of the function, and then in this function we will pass two parameters 5, 4. Similarly, to call another function, we'll have to again specify the name of the directory dot the name of the module dot the function name, and then we will pass some value here. Okay, now run this. So you can see here this addition and subtraction code is function is successfully executed. Also in maths.py we are also inside each add and subtract function we are trying to print the name of the module also. So you can see here the name of the module is coming as mathematics.maths. Earlier it was coming only as maths, but now it has become mathematics.maths. So that means when you create any file inside another directory, or when you create a module inside another directory which is not same as the main file directory, then your name of the module will become the name of the directory and then the name of the file or the name of the module file. Okay, so this is the first way of importing the module. Now the second way is import mathematics dot maths as m. Okay, so we'll define the alias because it's a long name, and if there are multiple functions inside this particular module or multiple attributes are there, so at the time of calling this module you'll or the attributes or functions of the maths module, you'll have to specify the name of the directory dot the name of the module file. So instead what we can do, we can just give a shorter name to this module name dot subdirectory name dot module name, and we call it as alias. Okay, now at the time of calling the function we can just specify alias name dot function name, alias name dot function name. Okay, now let's see here. So I'll specify one alias here. Now I can remove all these stuff. Okay, so now when we run it, sorry, this will also be removed because this has become alias. It is a part of alias. So now you can see here our function add and subtract are correctly executed. Okay, so this is the second way of importing the module residing in a different directory. A third method is from mathematics dot maths import add comma subtract. Okay, now at the time of calling this module, at the time of calling the function of the module, So how we can call? We can write add x comma y, subtract x comma y. So again, this method has certain advantage and disadvantage, which is same as the one I told you in the when I was taking same directory scenario, and which is you can restrict. So in maths there are multiple functions defined, but you want to restrict that only these two functions can be called in the main file or in some other Python file. Okay, but the disadvantage is if there are let's say hundreds of functions defined in this particular module, and if you want to call all the functions, then you will have to specify all the functions with comma separated name. Okay, so that's the disadvantage. So now let's see here how we can import it. So I'll say from mathematics dot maths import add comma sub. Now at the time of calling this function, I don't need to specify any alias name or module name. I can just specify the name of the function directly and it works correctly. Okay, and the last method is from mathematics dot maths import asterisk. Okay, so this method has an advantage over the previous method, which is if you want to call all the functions of a module or all the attributes of a module, so instead of specifying the names here, you can just put asterisk. This Python, by seeing that this asterisk, Python will assume that this all the functions can be called from this particular module. Okay, so here also you just have to specify the name of the function. You don't need to specify the module name or alias name in the prefix. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll just remove these functions and make it asterisk. Now when I run it, so you can see here we are getting the same response. Okay, so in this is the way through which we can call the module which resides in the another directory. Okay, so now let's think in some generic way that there are, if your module resides in some number of subdirectories. Okay, so I showed you that it resides in a single subdirectory, but let's say if your module resides in more than one subdirectory, so how you can call that module in your main program? So I'm just going to tell you the generic way to call that module. Okay, so the first method is import, then you have to define subdirectory 1 dot subdirectory 2 till this subdirectory which actually contains the module, and then you specify the module. Okay, so these are the generic methods I am telling you, that if your module resides in some number of subdirectories, then how you can import that module. So you have to specify all the number of all those subdirectories with dot till this till you don't reach this subdirectory which actually contains your module file. Okay, and at the time of calling the function, you'll again have to specify like this: the name of all the subdirectories, then the name of the module, and then the name of the function. Okay, so that's the first method. Second method is using the alias. So again, at the time of importing it, you have to specify all the subdirectories till you reaches this subdirectory which contains your module file, and then you can give alias. Now at the time of calling the function, you just have to give the alias name and then the function name. Okay. Then the third method is using from method. So in the from, along with from keyword, you have to specify the name of all the subdirectories till you reaches the subdirectory which contains the name of the module. Okay, and then you can specify here import the name of the function, function 1, function 2. Okay, any number of functions you can define here. Okay, and at the time of calling the function, you just have to specify the name of the function. That's it. Okay, and the restriction here is whatever the function name you will mention here, only those functions can be called in your main file or other Python file. Okay, and let's say if you want to call all the functions or attributes of a module, then in that case you can just write from subdirectory 1 dot subdirectory 2 dot till subdirectory n dot module import asterisk. Okay, and then at the time of calling the function, you just have to specify the name of the function, and you can call all the functions which is defined inside this module. Okay, so these are the ways through which you can import the modules in your Python program. That's all for this session. See you in the next session. Thank you.